if you're considering it, just do it.
What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking with Kyle. Kyle is someone that is on our hair system forum and has talked about his hair loss journey and his transition into wearing hair systems. Kyle is a great guy, and he's going to be talking about all the way back through his hair loss, how he felt like he couldn't find any solutions into wearing a hair system, how he goes and tells everybody he knows that he's wearing a system, why he does that, and then some of his maintenance tips. It's a great conversation. You can't miss it. Watch it till the very end. Enjoy. All right, today we're here with Kyle. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, man, it's good to meet you. You've been active on the subreddit, our Reddit, our hair system, and you shared your story, said that you would be willing to share it in more detail here on the YouTube channel, which I'm super stoked on. So let's just jump right into the details. We're going to start with your hair loss journey, why it took you so long to get a hair system, how it's been going, all that kind of fun stuff. So take us back to the beginning. In a couple minutes, kind of share your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the hair system subreddit is something I found long after I actually decided to do the plunge for hair system. And so I've been balding since I was about, I guess, 21. I started having like really thin hair and having the devil horns and everything that people start worrying about in their early 20s. And I was a little bit in denial about it. I said, okay, maybe I can go on the, the finasteride and stuff, but it didn't really work. Nothing really took. And I sort of, I guess I sort of had some problems with looking up the hair loss resources, like for example, hair replacement surgery and things like that. Because I was this college student, I wasn't willing to consider that. It cost like 10 grand. So I guess I sort of naturally like fell into hair system like later in like my 20s because my friends, I shouldn't say their names. They all had been looking at it and saw some YouTube videos that looked really cool. And they said, look, you can just do this. You can shave your head. You can, all they do is peel it on. And it was kind of a natural progression for me because it seemed affordable and easy. And honestly, it looked really good. And this hair looks way better than my hair ever did. So
good stuff. So you said around early 20s, 2021, you started losing your hair, and now you're about how old?
I'm 31 now. So it did take me about a decade to really take the plunge. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I started losing my hair around 19, 20, and I didn't take any action until around 27. Mm-hmm. So I'm there with you. I'm close to a decade as far as, and a lot of that is clarity about what the solutions are that are out there. First, the awareness, and second, the transparency about what it's like, how it is, and stuff like that. Because for a while, I didn't approach it because, one, I thought it was super duper expensive. My first exposure to hair systems was like 3 years prior to when I actually got one, and it was when Quiff & Co came out, and it was like $3,000 for like a system, and I was just like, I'm in college, I can't do this. So awareness, transparency about what's going on, and ultimately, bravery, the courage to do it. So here you are, 31. You've took the plunge. You're wearing a hair system. You're looking great.
Thank you.
You got
so
some.
Much.
Yeah, but it looks like you got a little bit of hair color as well. Like a little. Is that some different highlights going on there?
The system just they plopped it on as is. They matched it to the sides. This is very similar to what my hair looked like before, actually. And so they just cut my hair and they matched it, and it took about 2 months for it to come in. It was surprisingly affordable. So I'm Canadian, so it's Canadian dollar, but it was about 500 Canadian dollars.
Great.
For them to order it, ship it, and then install it, which is pretty cheap. And so anyone that's like worried about, how much is this going to cost me? Unless you live like in like West Hollywood or something where they gouge everything and it's a whole industry, I wouldn't worry too much about cost. Probably the most, I think, and you can confirm or deny this, the most you'd be looking at is about $1,000 for your first installation, and unless you're going to a really fancy salon, I would assume.
Yeah, there's prices all over the market depending on a person's notoriety, as far as the stylist and what their options are, and the location, how expensive things are there. So there's definitely a lot of different prices out there for sure. So walk us through first, tell us a little bit about the details of this particular system. Do you know what type of system it is, how you've got it bonded, stuff like that?
I think she said it was super hair pieces. I can't recall though. It might've been Lords. Okay. She said it offhand, and like it didn't mean anything to me, but I wish I remembered.
Okay.
So bring up notoriety too. The person that did mine had absolutely no web presence whatsoever. I could barely find their business on Google. So if everyone thinks that, I got to find like that famous YouTuber that installs hair systems that does the before after on TikTok, you don't necessarily need that. And at least I didn't. So, and they might charge a huge premium for their services because they know they can, because they have so much of a marketing budget. So I do think that like really it's just about making the decision to get it done, and like you can obviously do some research online. The hair system subreddit is very helpful, but I think that once you make that decision, it's just all about the finer details, like ironing out everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So how's it been going? How long you been wearing a hair system, and how's it going?
Yeah, so it's been, this system's about 3 months old, so it's starting to get a little bit dry. It still looks pretty good. I think my first challenge was actually how tangly it got. Because when you go from having thin hair to having extremely, almost comically thick hair, you forget how much everything gets tangled. So you kind of start to readapt these habits that you had when you were much younger and had thicker hair. So for example, to prevent tangling, I'll like put the conditioner on in the shower, and I'll have my brush, which let me grab the brush real quick. This is the one I use. It's an Ace thin bristle, and you just kind of in the shower, you brush it with the conditioner, keep it nice and smooth, and you actually don't lose a lot of density in the hair system that way. So I've been kind of learning a bit as time has gone on, and I think it's obviously been a journey, but I think beyond the actual glue and bonding and things like that, so much of it is just regular hair care. And I think that people sort of take that for granted because most people getting a hair system haven't done any hair care for years and years. So they're just kind of relearning those tips and tricks, right?
Oh, 100% agree with you. And that's something that, it's like, okay, how do I take care of a hair system? Well, first, you need to go back and learn how to take care of your hair. And for a lot of us guys, to be honest, we never actually took care of our hair when we had hair. We just kind of rolled with the punches. We never learned. When I was younger, I never conditioned my hair. Didn't know how to style it, and really paid no attention to it. So now, having this option and also having to maintain it, it's more actually like comparatively going to how women treat their hair, and just having an awareness and a care about it. I've actually talked a lot about this with my girlfriend, who she has curly hair, which is a whole other level of like care to maintain curls. And she's like, yeah, it's not really that, like, you don't have to do that much. What you're doing, it's just normal hair care basically, and you just weren't used to it.
It's also consistency. It's consistency, right? So like, I saw like how long does a hair system last, and some people say, oh well, I kept getting glue in mine, so I have to buy a new hair system every 2 months and stuff like that, and they were just like messing up their system. But I thought I want to avoid that. I want to like make sure that when I'm cleaning the glue off and I'm replacing it, that I'm not getting the glue in any of the strands. And if I do, I actually use your tip, which is to use dish soap and take it out and then condition it with leave-in conditioner so it doesn't dry out too much. And it's just like little tips like that truly, I told my girlfriend, she's like, how much is this going to cost? She's like, oh, probably like, or I said probably about like $1,000 or $2,000 a year, right? And she's like, well, that's like what lots of women spend on their hair. So this is truly not that big of a difference.
Yeah, that's the thing to note, right? Is like, hey, and this is a very, very public, forward-facing thing. And, whatever, it's not about other people, but if it's something that's interfering with a guy's confidence, like your hair, your face are two of like the biggest things along with your body that you should probably be taking care of. If you look great and you like having a shaved head, boom, great, fantastic. Yeah. But if not, if it's something that you do want for your identity, or you just are not one of those guys that looks good with a bald head, because there's a thing and it's true.
That's me.
Yeah, hey, I get it. Yeah. People often say, like, at the very beginning of my channel, I actually shaved my head. Like, I got a hair system, made videos for maybe like 3 or 4 months, shaved my head because of I couldn't figure out all the problems based on the information that was out there. I was getting glue in my hair. It was stinking. Like, honestly, it was smelling.
Because I can tell you work out. That's probably part of the reason, right? You're actually sweating, and it just goes into the system, and it binds to the glue too.
Yep. Yeah.
Like the stink just gets in the glue, and you're like,
So I was having all these problems, couldn't solve it. So I was like, I'm not letting this interfere with, number one, my fitness. So what did I do? I shaved it. Right. And people were like, dude, you got a good, like, you look great bald. personally for me, maybe that's true, but personally for me, I was like, I can't do it. I don't like it. So,
and that's who it's about. It's about you. It's not about anybody else, right? And
exactly.
and I think that's true for every aspect of the journey. It's not just how your hair looks. It's not just how you install it. It's about who you choose to share the information with. So, for example, if you don't want to tell anybody you got a hair system and you want to like slowly get a short hair system and like, you know, go up and really gradually have it like not be a shock to people, you can do that. Or if you want to just get like do what I did, go from basically bald to a full head of hair and then just tell everybody you interact with, yeah, my hair is fake. That's my journey, and that's like my level of comfort with it. And I truly doing that, I truly never had any pushback or anybody being like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like everybody was just across the board interested and excited for me. Like every single person was just nothing but positive, and they thought it was so cool. They're like, oh, it's like my brother's balding. Can you give me the number of the person that did it for you? And it's a conversation piece, and I feel like
it's like wearing a Rolex.
Yeah.
When I start telling people I got a Rolex on my head, basically.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just hair. No, so I actually got a question for you then, because this is something that's so common and it will be debated. It will be talked about till the end of time. People that are wearing hair systems, but why and how is it that you have not really had problems talking about this inside of your social group, not feeling judged, not feeling, that people are making fun of you, but you just completely owned it in that, like, you're not having any problems? Because you'll see other guys that they'll just talk nonstop about the fact that, oh man, like people making fun of me, blah 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 blah. And I'm just curious, like, what's your perspective on this? Why is it that you've been successful? Is it just because all your friends are dope, or do you think that it has to do anything with how you approach it?
Oh, my friends are definitely, I mean, they're great guys, but they rip on me all the time. We're a bunch of dudes, and I rip on them, and it's and like obviously, like, they made a couple jokes about it, like how it's, this guy wears a toupee now, and it's fine, but it's all very lighthearted. It's not like, it doesn't come from a nefarious place. If you have friends, and I'm not a psychotherapist, but if you have friends that are constantly like coming from a bad place, ripping on you and making fun of something that obviously means a lot to you, I feel like it's time to get new friends, right? And you can see this is just open on the post that I made on Hair System. There was somebody that was saying, oh, what if somebody finds out that it's fake and judges you? And I said, well, that might happen. But if that is such a big issue for you, I think you have bigger issues than being bald, right? So if you're like constantly obsessing, I guess, about the possibility that, like, it might like blow up in the wind or something, or somebody might notice it's fake, and you might be one of those people from sitcoms where like the hairpiece falls off and whatever, and there's a laugh track. Like, if that's actually a fear for you, then I think that's something you need to sort of work out in your own journey and recognize that is a mental block. Because at the end of the day, it is just hair. It's not going to, like, I mean, it can change your life, and it absolutely changed mine, but it's not going to change every single insecurity you have with your personality. It's not going to change. It's not going to make your friends suddenly nice. I mean, if your friends weren't going to make fun of you for having a hairpiece, they were going to make fun of you for being bald. They were going to make fun of you for the way you dress. And if you have friends that are like that, maybe you got to expand your friend group a little bit and sort of leave the rotten ones behind, right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, we have to take a lot of ownership. I think often when we do something that is a little bit off the beaten path, perhaps even a little taboo or just not normal, right? We have to take ownership of how we feel about it first before we judge other people for judging us, right? Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, in my opinion, my very humble opinion, it should not matter whatsoever what other people think, because they're not you. They don't know what you're going through. And third, if they're making fun of you for something that you're trying to do, especially if you're trying to improve your life, that says a lot about a person. And to care that someone else doesn't improve, makes fun of you because they're sad, fat, and just unhealthy, whatever. It's not about judgment. It's just the fact that, like, they're not able to make those decisions for themselves, so they judge other people, and we're insecure about it. There's something wrong there. right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I find the funny thing is that a lot of people that are making fun of me, they're just making jokes for the hair system, are people that are themselves balding, and that obviously comes from a place of insecurity, and that's totally fine. They're on their journey too. But I've also had friends that are balding, and they've just done nothing but express interest and like ask me a whole bunch of details and say, I might do it. I think it could be cool, right? And again, you're like you said, some people are totally fine shaving their heads, and in fact, I might shave my head in my 40s. But I made the decision, I want to have hair in my 30s. And that's just a decision that I made. And it's not, and we're in a world now where you can have that fairly affordably with like minimal discomfort. And speaking of discomfort, I mean, like I said on the subreddit, I have psoriasis. So I actually have chemical sensitivity on my head. And some people might think that's a huge barrier. Like, oh, I might get itchy, you might get irritated, you might have problems with your scalp. And in fact, one of your videos that I watched actually helped me inform what products to get. So I got the most hypoallergenic and cleanest ingredients I could. But doing that, I realized you can take tips and tricks from other people, but at the end of the day, you have your relationship with your system, and like you can choose how often you want to take it off, how often you want to reapply it, how often you want to clean the lace or urethane, whatever. And that's just you. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's like being a parent. This is your baby, and you got to sort of find the ways that work for you and work for your body and your physiology, so that you're the most comfortable, the least itchy, and you look the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree with you. It's a journey. Well, thank you for sharing all this kind of stuff. It sounds like it's going pretty good for you, being 3 or 4 months in, and you got hair in your 30s now. Is there anything you kind of want to leave as some thoughts, or anything you do want to communicate to our audience while we have you here?
Yeah, I would say if you're considering it, and I was considering it for over a year before I actually did it, maybe even 2 years actually. If you're considering it, just do it. Unless you're one of those people that has a full head of hair and it's like, oh, I'm balding. If you're actually losing your hair and you're thinking, I want to have a hair system, I would say just do it. You have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, it looks a little dumb and you wear a hat for a while, but I don't think that's going to happen. Because almost everybody I see on the subreddit and online has just thought it looks great. And if it doesn't, they figure out why and they fix it. And so it's definitely worth taking the plunge.
Boom. Awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's watched this video and heard Kyle's story, how his experience is going, and sharing his insights. Appreciate you all, and we will see you soon.